Do you know about water brush pens? I use them all the time while I'm traveling and sketching, and today I'll show you how to use them. So, a water brush pen has normal bristles on top, just like any other brush, but it has a little tube to add water at the bottom. So, hold the bottom tightly and turn the top. This can be a little tricky, and then fill it in with water. Just run it under your kitchen sink and fill that. And you screw the top back in while holding the bottom nice and tight. And now you can gently squeeze water from the tube and it'll fall through the bristles. Little drops of water based on how much you squeeze it. I generally start by squeezing out little drops of water on my paints. It's usually quite dry at the start and you want to reactivate it a bit so that you get nice juicy colors. I squeeze out a little more water in my palette if I want it a little more watery. And then I use it like I would use any other watercolor brush. But there's one thing that I do differently, which maybe not all artists do this, but I do this way. So let's say you want a lighter version of the same color. You squeeze out a few drops on your palette and you get a diluted version of the color, and then you paint as normal. So what I don't do is I don't squeeze out water while my brush is on my paper or while I'm painting, because whenever I did that, I would get these huge blobs of water on my paper which wouldn't move and which would make a total mess. I don't know if you noticed, but every time I squeeze out a little bit of water, I also wipe my brush to the side of my palette just to make sure that the brush is not holding too much water in it, because this used to happen in the past. By the time I got my brush from the palette to the paper, plock, a drop of water would fall on my paper and it would be such a disaster. So I've made it a habit to always wipe my brush a little bit to the side of my palette before painting. So now let's talk about cleaning your water brush pen. Start by just wiping it on your paper towel or a cotton rag and then gently squeeze out water from it so you can again clean it multiple times. So keep squeezing out water and keep wiping your brush until you feel that it's fully clean. And that's it. I hope this was helpful and I hope it encourages you to paint outdoors soon.